Welcome to Ciao Bella, hosted by me, Erica Firpo, a travel journalist based in Rome. Each episode of Ciao Bella, I sit down with Italy's creators, contemporary artists and artisans, designers, culinary experts, heritage brands, and innovative aesthetes, and more who are defining and redefining 21st century Italy. Pull up a chair and join in. Hey there, Ciao Bella listeners. Let's jump right into a conversation on fashion with Walter Chiapponi, the creative director of Tod's.
One of the things that I think I was finding particularly interesting about you when I was doing a little research on you is that your background is, it's super fashion, and then now you're with this historic leather goods company. And so and you're very young. So I thought that was really kind of cool because you're with a heritage brand. I mean, I know the other brands that you've worked with because I definitely did my research, and you've worked with amazing brands. And I know Gucci and Valentino are now heritage brands, but again, you're so fashion. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
I know what you mean. Totally. Like, because my experience since like the beginning in the 90s, it was like, more or less like in a very fashionable, very trendy brand. And I may call like my experience like working in those kind of brand, but the things like really like maybe make thoughts like interest in me, like it was because every of all these company which I work with was like a leather good company and company with like a very strong heritage, more or less many of that, because like from Givenchy to Gucci to other one, like they all like very like Italian DNA company. And also like I think it's something like we want to do also at Tots to make it a bit more edgy, keeping like the idea of like traditional craftsmanship leather goods, which because I really care about it, but also make it like in the same level of every other Italian brand. This is like my challenge, kind of.
I mean, it's a big challenge, but it's also like I feel like it really fits with your background and what you've already been doing. And I love the phrase that you use. I love how you said Italian DNA.
I love like Italian DNA. And like also for many people now, like it doesn't exist anymore like a proper Italian lifestyle as it was like in the 60s, 70s, which is like very like a moment which I really related and I really love also if I was not even born. But in that moment, like Italian lifestyle was obvious, like there was like Hollywood on Rome, all the cinema going on, all the art going on. So it was easier like to speak about Italian lifestyle and speaking about DNA and like Italian heritage. Now, like I just like tried to take that time and put it like in 2021 and to make like people aware that like those kind of lifestyle is still existing, because as an Italian, I'm really proud of like our sense of style, of happiness, of joie de vivre, and I try to make all these elements, and of course fashion, because like we love fashion and we are really famous for that. So I try to take all these things and put it together, like sometimes also like a bit Dadaism, but I think it's very interesting, like looking to the past and going to the future and not be nostalgic, but just like to be clear and to be direct of my point of view.
Well, Walter, you grew up in outside of Milan, no?
Outside Milan, in the countryside. I born in Milan and I stayed in Milan like since I was till I was like 6, and after my parents decided to move like outside Milan, like 45 minutes away of Milan, in Val Tidone, which is an amazing place, surrounded by nature, animals, and very like good people, which I love to go back not every weekend, but most of my weekend. And I really care about how I growing up, because it was really like between two parents, which was like growing up and like at most of his life, like in the city, but also like with a very like good sense of reality. My parents are very grounded, and they really like teach me what for them and what for me now. It's the really like sense of life. So it's like really all about love.
Well, I think some of that, I was reading a little bit about you and this past year with Todd's. And one of the things that, what you're talking about growing up in this sensibility, it seems like this is also parlayed into or transferred into what you're doing with Todd's, like this Italian sensibility in regard. I know that there's been, you brought in more sustainable endeavors or sustainability projects within Todd's, which I think is very Italian. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like, as you say, like I enter in Todd's and I start this journey, like really, I'm not a very like pretentious person. So like I really start with a baby step and just like to make myself part of this group, of this big like Italian family, because like Mr. Della Valle like build the company as like a family. And I try just like to explore and explode the DNA and to just make it more contemporary. And as I really care about the environment and the animals, I really like obsessed. I have 2 dogs. I love countryside. I love nature. I really care about the future of our child or son or nephew. So I really was looking for the best way to be contemporary and to be aware of like our planet. So I start like to research about like materials, which was like with sustainable treatment, sustainable like provenience. And now like my first project, which is coming out like in a few weeks, but I did present it already since my first show. It was the idea of don't like throw in the garbage everything, but every piece of leather like is not used for do bags and shoes. It's being collected and cut it in triangle and make it in a patchwork design. So like we have no waste. And so we don't have to buy like huge amount of stuff and like have like, as I say, a lot of wasting. And this is like, for me, the beginning of like a big journey of sustainability.
So you're upcycling like leather remnants.
Exactly. It's like a matter of upcycling. And with Mr. Della Valle, we are doing also like other projects we will be like presented soon, but like upcycling for me now is the best way to start, because like as I'm like I'm being and I'm still a big consumer, I see how much wasting we are in the world and how much like things the people get bored soon by stuff, and it's like a balance between like recharge and reuse stuff, and also like material, and also like in the collection. And when I'm working on the shows and the collection of shoes and bag, I really like care about doing stuff they really last forever. I pretend to do that, which timeless, as the big T of thoughts means. For me, it's very, very important. Like, I'm never pretend to be trendy or like something that lasts like 6 or months or 1 year. But I really care about the value, about the craftsmanship, about the chicness more than the trendy. So like, it's also that one matter of sustainability in a different way, because it's more like in a style side, but I think it's very, very important.
One thing I read is that you called it clothes with culture. And you were speaking particularly about the timelessness of pieces that last, that will be with you. I thought, if you don't mind, because I want to introduce to our listeners first, because we jumped right into this, I'd like to introduce you, which is Walter Chiapponi, and you are the creative director of Todd's. Is that correct?
Sure. Since 2019.
And Todd's, I want to tell everybody what Todd's is. Todd's is a heritage brand that started I think a century ago, and it started with Filippo della Valle in Le Marche, so a region on the eastern north of Italy, and with shoes, in particular the famous gomino, right, which is a moccasin with those cute little rubbery studs underneath. And that I think is kind of cool because you basically, because it's on one level, Tod's is known for that particular shoe. On the flip side, you have this opportunity to evolve. Like I also would like to describe, like, I feel, and I would love for, actually, you know what, I'm going to let you describe how would you describe the sensibility of Tod's style?
Yeah, it's like, as you say, it's a lifestyle. Everything it starts like with this driving shoe, which is a very like amazing piece of design, because if you can imagine how it's made, how it's built, it's just like a big piece of leather, and just in the way you are folding the piece of leather and you get stitched, because it's only one piece, it build the shoe, and instead of have like a normal sole, there is like little pebble coming out from the leather. It's really like very special. It's meant to be very flexible because it's a driving shoe, but and this means so much because it's like a shoe is a casual shoe to drive, so to go somewhere, like to in your free time, to go in vacation, to have fun. So like I really embrace this kind of like DNA, and I build around in very easy way what like the consumer and the man of thoughts is it, men and women, of course. And it's very fascinating because like unless going like more like red carpet or like bling bling, I really went from what I feel more lucky. So to like really dress people in the time they really enjoy, they really have fun, the free time, the more relaxed time. So it's really like what after we all call like Italian lifestyle. So like taking the joie de vivre into a brand and build all around all the systems. So ready to wear, shoe, bag, belt, sunglasses. But it's really all meant to be really like lifestyle.
It's super lifestyle. I mean, I think one of the things that I like about Tod's, I mean, I love Tod's menswear, because I think it's very, it's like that, you know, it's like the way I describe what Tod's menswear for me is like that kind of guy that is very effortless. He's really well put together, and he's not trying too hard at all. But then you look at that slight detail, you know, or the colors, like a lot of the colors from Tod's, especially also the women's coats, I love, because they're not the typical color. There's something slightly better, slightly different, and that's, I think it's that attention to detail. It's just like, you know, I don't know if you ever watch what is it?
No, I know what you mean.
You know, it's like it goes to 11. It's just, but it's not in your face. It's not fashiony. Like it's not like runway, like you're saying. And it's
I
so
don't
nice.
like things when they are too much in your face, especially for these brands. So like this is why, like as you say before, like I call this clothes and shoe and bag things with culture, because it's more about like sophistication, and also like how do you build up a piece, how do you make the construction, the color, the finishing, and how to really like analyze a piece more than like build up like a total look just to be stylish or to be like in the face of people. It's more like intimate, and it's more like going more for the made by human side, and for the human side. It's really that, like, I think it's more about emotion and less about like showing off.
I fully agree. And I think that when you see it really gets translated or it really gets transmitted, because it has the effect, in my opinion, of being very approachable for everybody else. Like it's not, it makes us come closer. Like we're like, it's attainable. It's like this style that I could potentially be, you know, very easily. And I think what's really interesting is, I think, talking about when you were mentioning Italy in the 60s and 70s and that distinct style, I think that's what you're creating is you're creating a moment of time. You're defining this moment of time, which, and the funny part is that's timeless,
Exactly, because like every pieces are timeless. Like the men's tailoring for men and women in the 70s like are very like desirable now, and it will be desirable forever because the silhouette make you feel somehow like sensual and desirable, and the chicness and the graphism of the 60s. Like I was really looking through like all the what like Italian means also for people all around the world, and like color, the sense of color, the sense of like sunlight, the sense of happiness, and the sense of glamour. And what I thought I bring for the first time in thoughts, which I really care about, because for me it's a very strong emotion, it's the sensuality and the desirable side of like human being. So like there is like a bit of erotism in both of the gender, which for me, it makes like feel even more human than before.
I like that.
I love it that because really like the sensuality, it's something like, especially for us, which are like Mediterranean, it's something like very important. It's really like an attitude,
It's built in. I mean, it's, and I think again, I think you've been able to translate that into a style that people, I think people already identify, or Italian and sensuality, they go kind of hand in hand, and you've been able to translate that into this style that you can see with Tod's, that you can put on.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm curious. How do you feel? Do you feel that? With the pandemic and this lockdown, and then now things are changing with everybody kind of working from home, and do you think it's changed fashion, or change like evolved it a little bit?
Evolved it for sure. Change it, I'm not so sure, because like since like the pandemic, it's like hopefully like going away, but like people, they were thinking of, I was like hear many people say like, oh, we have to be more comfort, more relaxed, like tracksuit and gym suit, and I really don't believe about that. People, they really like love to get dressed up, and all the people I have around, they really like care about going out and like also being dressed up to going to work and to go out to the weekend. So like the only thing it's really changed, it's like human being more than a style. People, they have like the opportunity to get also even more emotional, like in this moment of like confinement, and also like to stay more close to their family. And it was really intriguing, like to like having a Zoom call with my assistant and see like child going around, going to see the furniture of the house. And they make, and I really hope it's gonna be like that. They make everybody feel more tied to the other. There is those kind of like emotion going on. And they really like we did a lot of sacrifice to make collection, because it wasn't so much easier to being creative, because I was alone with my dogs in the house and like try to sketch, but after like going from my sketch to my assistant to the factory to the artisan, it was very complicated. Somehow, like after the first lockdown, I decided to move to the factory and really work with the artisan, which was like a very good experience.
Where is that in? Is that in Le Marche, the factory?
Le Marche, which is like center of Italy. It's really the opposite side of Rome, by the sea. It's a very beautiful place. The factory, it's like an amazing piece of architecture.
So you moved there?
I almost moved there. I was there like every week, and I was really like making collection, speaking with the artisan, like working with them, with them, and it was very, very interesting actually, because we really like feel more understand and more tied together. It was like really a compromise between creative direction and craftsmanship and designer.
That must have been so inspiring, because I know
very.
Now something that you just made me think about. I feel like it's when we were talking about upcycling, and now you're talking about being with the craftsmen. I feel like that it is very part of Italian culture to not make waste, to use as much as you can. I mean, I think maybe what does they call it? Fast fashion is becoming more popular, like with my daughter who's 12,
Of course, yeah.
But and maybe it's but I do feel like what you've talked about, what you were talking about with upcycling is just, it is very much the Italian mentality, and craftsmanship is very,
Totally, yeah. But like when the people tell me like and give me this definition of like creative director, sometimes like I thinking about myself more as an artisan. I study like the second school. I start like Liceo Artistico, which is art school, and my dream was like to become a sculptor. And somehow at the end, like it didn't come up because it was kind of hard to be a sculptor like now. But I really feel it's very important, the human touch when you build up clothes. I really like manipulate and really working with my hands. And I think like it's not only one way to be an artisan. It's not only the one is stitching shoe, but it's also the one like he make and he build and he mold like pieces. And trust me, like when I do collection, it's like that. I really build more like in a couture way, clothes around man and human body, or like cutting vintage pieces and gluing all together, like more like in a patchwork way. But it's really a matter of like being spontaneous and being very tactile. It's very interesting, and it's very more like more than doing like a beautiful drawing. It's get you feel more like close to what you're doing and more emotional. You really project the emotion to your work.
I my background is art as well as is painting, and but I'm very tactile, so I totally understand what you're saying. Is that putting together is that you're bringing out that emotion. I mean, it's that must be a great experience. It would be a lot of fun actually to see you at
it's a lot of fun. I always walking around with my scissor attached to my neck, and like people are very scared because like I start to cut and change and like give a lot of alteration to clothes. But really, like it's impossible, I think, like right now to really like make a collection only like bi-dimensional by drawing. It's like flat, it's emotionless for me, like maybe because I'm capable also. If like I do a very good drawing because I like to draw a lot, like I spend all my life drawing, but I discovered this way which it make like clothes looking more spontaneous, more real, and more tridimensional.
Very cool.
It's it's all about like when I speak about myself, like I look like a child because everything for me, it's like really all around emotions.
I think that's great. I think that you're just making me smile because I love hearing that, because I love hearing what you're saying is that you're really putting that passion through your hands, but it's really you that's touching it, that's piecing it together, as opposed to just simply
totally. But also when I make shoes, which is a bit different than making clothes, I really like cut a piece of men's shoe and I glue it on like maybe a woman last high heels, or like vice versa, or like taking a piece of sneaker and like working in a more like feminine way. But it's very like this kind of like mix match and patchworking stuff. Like it's really, really interesting.
So essentially you are making sculptures. You're making wearable sculptures.
Kind of. I really love sculpture. I'm so fascinated by sculpture since like Canova to Brancusi, all those like masters for me like are genius, no? I really like get very inspired and very like in love with arts, like from picture to painting to performance, because also performance are very interesting. But I really get in love. Like sometimes it's really like a long relationship, like from some Italian artists from the 1950s, like 60s, like Schifano, to maybe a more young artist, which is like a little flirt and less a love story. But
no, I
like
know
art,
that feeling.
it's really like an amazing world, no?
Do you have, I love like sites, like on-site installations. I mean, I love all sorts of things. And I too have that visceral response. So like, an Urs Fischer sculpture, I'm like, oh, I love that. But more recently, I love like massive land art. And where I really want to go, I don't know if you've ever been, is in Sicilia, near Trapani, the Cretto. I want to go there. Have you been there?
We shot a campaign for Bottega Veneta.
No, you did?
When I was working at Bottega, we shot a campaign there. It's an amazing place, amazing. Really, like you feel like you are on the moon. It's beautiful.
That I mean, just so everybody knows, it's a big, huge piece by Alberto Buri, and it's like one of his crackle pieces, but come into this huge landwork, and that's
exactly. And it's all very white, so it's very like pristine. It looks very beautiful. There is a lot of land art around, like, and in Italy not many maybe, but this like Buri installation, it's like amazing.
Can I ask you what some of your favorite museums are in Italy? Do you have any?
Favorite Museo Madre in Napoli.
Ah, okay.
I think
yes.
like Museo Madre, it's a really like special contemporary art collection. And I was very worried because like they tried to close up because they had no like money to keep it open, but now it's open and there is like most of the best contemporary artists from all around the world. And Galleria Borghese in Rome, it's very fascinating. Museo del Novecento in Milan.
Yes, that's my favorite.
It's beautiful. And also like I really enjoy like at the beginning of November when Turin turns to a big like giant art fair like Artissima. And there is like most of the beautiful gallery in Italy, they are in Turin, and like very like good people, very chic and very like alternative and very sophisticated people are there, like from San Director Baudengo to Mario Merz Foundation. Like I always like, since first I went, like I always get every time very surprised. And the first time I went there, like there was like a very young artist presenting his like work, and it was Matthew Barney, and it was like, wow.
A young Matthew Barney. It was like the Cremaster cycle.
It was just like coming out with like remaster. And so since that, I say, yes, this is like once every year, it's a place to be.
So I remember I saw a Cremaster at the Whitney, like Barney before Bjork, like ages ago, but a young Matthew Barney, that would be very cool.
Yeah.
I was just told that the Fondazione, what is it? San
Director Baudengo.
They're opening an outdoor sculpture park. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just like newsflash. I'll send you the information. I'll send it to Miri.
Sure. I had the chance to see her once, like maybe at the Vanity Fair party in Milan, because she's working with Vanity Fair Italia, I think. And she's one of the most like chic women ever I see. Like it's so beyond elegance, really.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one last question because I know that we have to go. But my last question is this: how would you describe 21st century Italian chic?
Nonchalance.
Okay.
It's a matter of being like with elegant pieces, but like wear it like in the most casual way. It's a matter of contrast. I have to make like sartorial and elegance look sporty, and sometimes vice versa. I like that. I like when like people have this kind of like nonchalant attitude. For me, that's important. No matter like what they're wearing, it's like really matter of attitude.
Right. I think that is perfect. That sums it up wonderfully. Well, it was great to meet you, Walter. I'm so excited.
Great to meet you too. It was a very good chat. It's nice sometimes to talk to people like you. They really open your mind.
Thank you. And I'm so happy that, I'm so happy to hear how much you love art. That makes me really, now it makes even more sense when I see what you do. So thank you.
Yeah, it's the biggest like form of expression, no? Like, and we have Maurizio Cattelan in Italy, which is kind of like the giant of the contemporary art, no?
I know. He's love him. Genius. I love him. You know what you have to see, have you been to, have you been to Osteria Francescana? Have you seen the collection that Bottura has?
Yeah.
His collection of art is great, and so he's got some pieces. He's got like some great Italian pieces, and I mean, I think.
And I heard like in Milan, like in a big like space right outside Milan, they will open like really like an entire exhibition on Maurizio Cattelan very soon.
Oh, I would love that. He makes me laugh. I once was at the Venice Biennale and he was on my Vaporetto, and I was so excited. It was like, I guess it's like when people see celebrities, and I saw Maurizio Cattelan and I was speechless.
He's a genius, because like this for me, it's like the most perfect form of contemporary art, because he really made art became a concept and vice versa. Super good.
Well, you are super good, and I'm so happy to talk to you.
Thank you very
so much for your
very
time.
Happy to talk to you.
Have a
Keep
great
in
day.
Touch.
Okay, ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Ciao Bella with Walter Chiapponi, the creative director of Tod's. If you'd like to learn more about Tod's, which is a luxury and heritage fashion brand, please visit tods.com. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ciao Bella. If you'd like to know more about today's guest, please visit ciaobella.co and click on the podcast link, or go directly to ciaobella.co/podcast. Want more Italy? You can find all my episodes on iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher. When you have time, subscribe to iTunes and rate the podcast. What are you waiting for? And if you want to be part of the podcast, email me or DM me your Italy questions. To learn more about me and my work, go to my website, ericafirpo.com, and follow my Italy adventures on Instagram at ericafirpo. Ciao, Bella! And a very big thank you and hug to Massimiliano Yonta and Dis to Dis Studios, the producers of Ciao Bella, who continue to make me sound and feel great.